Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from S10 Gamers, and welcome. So today we're taking a look at another beautiful workshop design. Now, this is a completely vanilla ATTE, created by Delta, and I have to say there's something about walkers, and this also combines another one of my favourite factors of Space Engineers builds is when they're a recreation of a Star Wars build, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It's simple, it doesn't use any modifications. I believe there's actually one modification, and there is the Star Wars weapons pack, but apart from that, it is completely vanilla. We're going to have a look around the exterior, show you a quick little bit of excitement in some of the design characteristics. The bit that's going to really get me going crazy is the legs and how the legs actually work. Just look at this, look at the construction of this. We've got this original hinge point at the bottom that makes up the main claw, and as the leg works up, we've got a secondary joint here. Just look at the complexness of this. We've got a 2-point joint system, so one area pushes forward as the other bit retracts. It's just really smart, and they've just spent so much time working this. And look at this upper joint here. We've got a piston that works on a rotary system here, so as this piston retracts, it actually rotates the whole part of this upper leg, and all of that, of course, is timed up with timer blocks. So, and that's just the first leg alone. We've got the secondary leg that's been integrated into this lovely little bit of armor, just like the one from Star Wars, and you've got this much larger rotary system. And just look how this works. We've got this secondary piston here that pushes the leg out and in, and then further down below we have the other piston that pushes the leg further up and around, making it rotate. Just absolutely beautiful. It's such an engineering sort of marvel in Space Engineers getting something like this to work. So we've seen it. Let's spawn my character in, and we'll have a look around the ground. Now, the last little thing I want to do just before I do that is have a look at the turret on the top. So you can actually rotate this turret around. You can see there's a rotor inside there. There's also a seat for the clone to sit on there and operate the turret. Something I never really got about this vehicle was how exposed the clone trooper on top of this actual vehicle was to enemy fire. He just didn't seem to have too much protection, was easily going to be picked off by a stray sort of blast of fire. Anyway, let's drop ourselves in. If we hit F6, you can actually see the scale of this next to a sort of standard sort of Space Engineer. I would say it's a little bit bigger than what you'd expect from the Star Wars sort of series, but to say that, it's still a beautiful creation, and sometimes you have to mess up the scaling just a little bit to fit all the features of a design in. So entering into the hull through this really awesome lift where we've got access to both points. We can also send the lift down from up here to pick up people below. But in this case, we'll just retract it back into the hull. And as we walk into this area, we've got quite a plain interior, but I've never actually seen what the interior of one of these ATTEs would actually look at. We've got a troop sort of section in the center, and we've got the various timer blocks that control this ship's functions. As we go a little bit further forward, we enter into the cockpit. Now, the cockpit itself, we've got the radar on the right there, so you can see which droids you're crushing underneath your feet. We've got some notices about the information, how to keep things refreshed. Over to the left, we can fire our front turrets. That's just an awesome array of blaster fire. So if I just rotate out a little bit further, you can see how they spin up and fire them beautiful blue sort of beams. And then we can actually start it walking by hitting 3, and you'll just have a notice how these legs actually move. So if I hit F8, and we get a really nice perspective, so you can see how the individual joints are moving around the leg, and the piston contracts as the leg pushes forward. So each one of these legs is working individually and been timed up on them tire blocks to function. So let's actually have a look at how this leg functions. Notice how it's being pushed out to the side by that secondary piston, and then moved forward and then pulled back in. And it's a very slow craft. Lots of walkers in Space Engineers are quite slow in design, but it's just absolutely beautiful how it just makes its way across the environment like so. Very majestic, very Star Wars-esque. You can just imagine these walkers taking hours to reach the final battle point. Blasters going absolutely everywhere. Stray sort of drones or little creatures going underneath these claws and being stepped upon. Absolutely beautiful. Let's actually hop back into the cockpit and see if we can get control of some of the systems. So we want to control the toolbar 2. So this one will control the other turret. So we want to control turret 2. There we go, so I can move that rotor to the side. I can fire my blaster over there. Very cool indeed, very beautiful. Fire my blaster over there. Can't really aim it down, but at the same time, a lot of this blaster fire is just to be down for suppression. So let's turn that rotor back off so it locks itself into position, and we'll go back to that menu. So going back to the HUD, we can also see exactly what the other buttons do. So we've got turret 2, main turret control is number 4. So that should control the turret on the top. I can actually see it moving above the cockpit. But we'll go back up to F8, and then we'll go to 9 as well, so we can actually see this thing move around. So as we're in control of that, we can control this turret from inside. Oh, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Let's fire it off in this direction. Fire that forward. Oh, that's just so cool and beautiful. So I thought we'd test out the walker on a little bit of a rough sort of terrain. So I've actually built ourselves a few little craggy bits here where it's going to have to step down. And something that I've noticed straight away is how the actual paws are sort of adjusting to the terrain itself. You can see it in here. They're actually shaping themselves around, and it's having really no effect on it. This little bit of rough terrain, it's just lifting the claws out and over it, and they're just reaching through extremely nicely. Just look how the claw there is adjusting to the terrain itself. Then the second leg pushes down, lifts it up and over that bit of rocky terrain. Originally I thought it would really suffer from doing this. I've also got a few of these, so if I just drop one or two of these in front of its actual path, so it's going to have to stand on these to get through. Nothing too special, just a few little sort of torpedoes. It's actually kicked one out of the way. So we'll see if it can lift its leg up over the torpedo. So it's actually stepping on the first torpedo now as it's trying to climb over it. Okay, it seems to be, it's not really struggling, it's just pushing because they're round sort of objects. It's slipping over them like if they were logs. Now it's managed to get its foot on top of them. It should be able to move a little bit faster around them as well. So yeah, the foot's going forward still. It's pushing down hard on them torpedoes. It's not breaking them though quite yet. But we are still moving forward over the terrain. Now this second leg here might struggle to get around these torpedoes, or is it going to completely miss? No, it's going to step and push that one out of the way. Just a beautiful piece of engineering. These legs really do work well in a variety of different terrains. I thought, to be honest, that it would completely fail with a little bit of rough terrain like that, or even trying to step over a smaller object like that as well. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Definitely check this one out on the workshop. It is an amazing creation.